So let's bring up the incredible Mrs. Davis to talk about Alexandra Burns.
Okay, I'm a math teacher, so I have to read from my thing because the words don't flow very easily for me. Alexandra is in my third period Algebra 2 class. I'm not recognizing her today because she has an A+ in my class, which she does. But I'd like to express that to everyone how impressed I am with how she conducts herself on a daily basis. She has a quiet confidence about her as she handles her many successes with humility and grace. I often observe her helping her partner, which speaks not only to her character but also to her strong communication skills. Something you may or may not know about her is that she's an amazing tennis player. So much so that her and her sister qualified for the state tournament in doubles. While this is an impressive accomplishment, this meant that she was to miss a lot of school. So she's been busy kicking butt on the courts, but missing math class. And she's able to successfully balance this situation, always taking the initiative to talk to me ahead of each tournament and come up with a plan of how she would not fall behind in Algebra 2. She was willing to come in early and seek the extra help to fill in any gaps from whatever she missed. I cannot wait to watch Alexandra continue to grow and impress those around her during the remainder of her tenure here at LHS.
I have a bad feeling Alexandra would kick my butt in both math and tennis, so it's got me there. And we're going to stick with numbers right now. And I don't know, maybe Mr. Tamayo, is this an economics student? Yes, it is. All right, so we'll stick with numbers, and we'll have the awesome Mr. Tamayo come on up to talk about Debjani Mitra. Come on down.
Well, Debjani is very much like all the students here. You know, I think she has those amazing qualities that make her one of those true Wildcats that we're here to celebrate. It's my honor to recognize Deb as a model Wildcat, someone who demonstrates the qualities that we seek to promote with our daring mission. Deb is extremely bright. She's extremely respectful. She comes into class prepared and is very social, very well liked by everyone. But you wouldn't know just by looking at her that she puts in time and effort every single day, every single night to make sure that she is on top of her game. And so she takes the additional time in class to find resources outside of the materials that are provided, which is pretty extraordinary, in my opinion, to make sure that she fully understands these concepts. True story, when I walked around the room, typically, you know, everyone is writing on their paper notes, but she's on her computer and so I kind of like walk by just because no one else is on their computer. So I'm thinking, you know, what is she doing? Well, she is looking up different graphs and then screenshotting, clipping, and adding them nicely to her electronic notes. And I'm like, wow, that's some initiative right there. You know, that's pretty impressive. So she really cares a lot about her grades, and she also helps everyone else at her table. And today, when I was kind of getting everything set up before I came down, they were like, oh no, Deb's not here. What are we going to do? So that was kind of funny. But needless to say, Deb does a great job helping her classmates, regularly helping nearby students understand their mistakes. She demonstrates her inquisitive nature regularly in class, carefully thinking through new concepts and asking thoughtful questions. It's been a true pleasure having Deb in my class, and I don't doubt that she will continue to excel in everything she puts her mind to. Congratulations. Thank you.
This is good to know, Deb, that you have the economic skills, because I have a son in college, and I may need some advice on how to pay some bills. So I'm going to talk to you. Need some of those graphs. All right, so we're going to keep moving along here, and we've got the first of a team of presenters here. This student is so amazing that she has two people wanting to talk about her. So we are going to bring up Mrs. Oslage and Mr. Leone to talk about Emma Iserman. All right.
So I was very excited to see that, to be able to nominate Emma for True Wildcat, and then to have Mr. Leone as well get to nominate her. It's not something that happens every day. So I think that really shows right now how dynamic and what a successful student Emma is. So last year, Emma has some great goals for after high school. And, you know, it takes a lot to be able to achieve those goals. And last year, when we were talking about classes that Emma had to take, she couldn't fit it all into her schedule, you know? And it's something we're like, well, you just can't do it all, girl. You have to let something give, right? So Emma, persistent as she is and dedicated as she is, and wanting to be successful, she's a dreamer and a doer. She signed up for 0 Hour to take CrossFit. And then she comes in and she has a full day of classes. And then not only that, she goes to golf after school. You know, golf is now over, but she continues to pursue that passion with golf. And not only that, she's also a wish leader. So this girl is a dreamer, a doer. She's nimble. She does all these wonderful things. I could keep going on and on and on, but just the fact that she's doing what she needs to do to be able to set herself up to be successful in life, and she's doing it now. And I'm so proud of her, Mr. Leone.
I'm also incredibly proud of her. I had no idea how much extra stuff she was doing with all that. I was like, okay, wow, now I even feel better about nominating her after I already felt great about nominating her. And even with all this stuff on her plate, between golf and my class, which is at the end of the day, is your period, and she will come down and she'll come in to see me, always looking to get whatever extra she can do, whatever extra work she can do, whatever needs to be done, she does. Okay? She doesn't wait for somebody to come up and tell her what has to be done. She just does it, and here's the kind of fun part that I really love about her. She always does it with a smile. She doesn't complain about what has to be done. And I love seeing that in young people who are like, this has got to get done, so by God, let's just do it. And she always does it with a smile, and she does it well. It's been a pleasure to nominate her.
Congratulations, Emma. I played golf against Emma, and I'm not going to tell you who won, but it wasn't me. So the big faculty golf outing, I think I lost about 7 balls that day, and they gave me 3 as a gift, so I was down 4. I felt pretty good about that. All right. So we'll keep the theme going with 2 teachers to talk about 1 student, and we have the amazing Mr. Gore and Mr. Karnes Ted, our music teachers, who are here to talk about Gabby Wagner.
Hi there. I'm Mr. Gore. That's Mr. Karnes Ted, in case you weren't sure. So we were lucky to have Gabby with us this year. Gabby is a percussionist and a member of our drumline. She came to us last year as a transfer student in from California as a junior, and she's a senior now. But she came in and stepped in right away. As you know, our drumline, if you've been around the school, is very much involved with school spirit and being a part of the LHS experience. And Abby, pun fully intended, didn't miss a beat, jumping right in with the drum line on our snare line. This year, she was selected by both ourselves and her peers to be one of our drum captains, a leader on that ensemble. And to have done that with only 1 year of experience in the building, to be one of the caretakers of school spirit, as it were, is really something else. Plus, if you have ever tried to wrangle a drum line, which is 20 or so teenage boys with 1 girl, I think, thrown in there other than you, right? Two. We got Shelby this year, too. But, yeah, and then you give them sticks and things to hit. That's quite the task, and Gabby manages it all and does a phenomenal job. It's wonderful to have a student that we can just trust when we say something needs to get done. You know, our students are all great. Every student in this room is phenomenal about that. Gabby is one of those folks who, when we say, hey, here's something that needs to be done, we don't need to follow up. We don't need to check it. We mention it to Gabby, and it's done. And that's it. And she does just a wonderful job, an incredible work ethic, and a great part of our team here, and we really, really enjoy having her as our true Wildcat.
I don't know if I can add on top of that. Yeah, everything that Mr. Gore said was obviously true. One thing that I've always been impressed with Gabby is, as Mr. Gore mentioned, kind of coming in the middle of high school, and kind of making that immediate impact. And we see it not only in the drum line, which is probably the most visible thing that Gabby is part of, but also in our concert bands. She is kind of the leader, de facto leader of her section, always kind of making sure, you know, the right parts are going to the right places, and that the other people in the section are on task and doing work and helping out. So I've always been impressed by Gabby's leadership skills.
There we go. Hey, Gabby. Let's get to the picture now.
Gabby, I think you helped me with the open house video too this year, right? Yeah, so I saw that organization in, if you saw our open house video, I had the drumline helping me, and Gabby was definitely in charge, not only of the other boys who were in there, but of me as well, making sure that I did what I was supposed to do. So thank you, Gabby. All right, we're going to keep this kind of two-for theme going here, but we're going to flip it a little bit, because Mrs. Bose has nominated 2 students this month. So we're going to bring up the awesome Mrs. Bose to talk about Catherine Meyer and Scott Creel. Both Catherine and Scott are rad.
So I have to actually admit that I nominated one of these students, I won't tell you who, last month, and I couldn't make it to the ceremony that day. I had to leave early, and so I really wanted to be here to present the award, so I asked if that person should come this month as well. So now I have 2 people, so that's what happened with that. My name is Mrs. Bose. I'm actually subbing for Mrs. O'Day, who's on maternity leave and is going to be back next week. And so started out the year teaching foods and consumer management, and I have Katie and Scott in Foods 1. They're both in different class periods. And I have to tell you a little short story. My husband and I were out to dinner with a couple about a month ago, and this couple were saying how they felt like people just didn't teach their kids any respect or etiquette or politeness anymore. And I said, oh, no, it's happening. I said, being that I'm a sub at this building and at Vernon Hills, I can't tell you the number of times when I'm teaching and the class period ends and kids are leaving the room and they thank me for being there and they thank me for teaching them, which I think is just truly amazing that's happening on a daily, constant basis. Well, what impressed me, I'll start with Scott only because he's closer, okay? What impressed me about Scott, who's a freshman, is that if I tried to keep track of how many times he said thank you to me or was so extremely polite, I would lose track like so easy if I tried to do hash marks or whatever, because he is just a great role model and so polite. And I think every single day he's thanking me when he leaves the room, as you know, so it's great. But why I wanted to also nominate him was because our room, with going down to less periods in a class period, a less amount of minutes, in a class period, we're trying to get all these recipes done when we're cooking, and you know, it's kind of like a tornado's happening in the room, wouldn't you say? Yeah. It's nothing like cooking at home, folks, okay? So there'll be a lot of times when things are going on and we're following a period that is not doing the same thing that we're doing, so I'm having to get other things out. And he's the first person to like be on something like, oh, Mrs. Bose, what about this? And like, oh yeah, I need to get that out too. So that happens on a regular basis. So he's helping me to keep things moving and going, and as well as being such a great kid. So I'm seeing a lot of good things coming from Scott in the future, and if you ever want someone to teach an etiquette class here, he's one of the guys you need to go to, okay? So thank you so much, Scott, and congratulations. And so Katie, along that vein, again, she's next period, a very polite young lady, very pleasant. And do you remember when I asked you what grade you were in and found out that I thought you were a senior, right? I was just like, seriously, you're not a senior? You're just so mature, and, you know, as well as being so polite. And so Katie, again, the foods classes are a lot of mixed ages, freshmen through seniors in the class, and she's in a group with mixed age. And there's many times, and I'll turn around, she's in a group with two freshmen, and it's two. Yes, that's what I thought it was. And so many times I'll turn around and I just love to hear, she'll be like, oh, so-and-so, how about if you do this? And why don't we do this? And so she's really bringing the freshmen along, but one in particular that I can think of who I think really appreciates her mentorship, I think would be a good word for it in the classroom. So she's just done a great job with that. And I don't know if you'll get mad at me for telling your parents this, but a lot of times I'll turn around and she's cleaning something that is that is not in her kitchen. It's like the front area, and it's like, oh, Katie, thank you. So that's wonderful too. So Katie, thank you so much, and congratulations.
I'm really glad that my wife wasn't here to listen to that, because both Scott and Katie would be brought to my house this weekend to teach me how to cook and to teach me etiquette, and most importantly, to teach me to clean. So, woof, dodge that one. All right. We are now going to shift to our LST. We've got a couple people here from our LST, our Q through Z LST. It looks like we've got the awesome Mrs. Molina. And Mr. Chalipsky, you coming up, or are you just here for, you're coming up too? All right. We got Mrs. Molina coming up, awesome, to talk about Christina Poza Tuduri.
Well, hello. I'm Miss Molina. I'm one of the counselors in the end of the alphabet, STE through C. I started at LHS last year. I moved from Puerto Rico, and I had lived there for 6 years. And so it's been wonderful to get to know students more personally since last year and this year. And one of the students that came up for us, and we've been wanting to recognize her efforts, is Christina. So if you hear me speaking Spanish at the end of it, it's because we communicate a lot in Spanish. It feels like we're back for her in Spain and for me in Puerto Rico, so we have connected in that way. But there's so much more to Christina than the language and the cultural connection. So I'm gonna read a little bit. So Christina is today here before you. She's a very confident, smart, and young lady. We have no doubt that she has always had those personality traits, but her bright disposition is even more remarkable, considering that in 2017, Christina moved to Libertyville from Spain. Although transitioning to a new country and culture can be extremely stressful, and I can be a witness to that, and intimidating, she always persevered with grace and excitement. Since she arrived at LHS, she's been on a mission to put herself in the best possible position to learn and grow. She is definitely a dreamer and a doer. In the classroom, she's exhibited by her remarkable grades, her collaborative spirit, and her willingness to enhance all the wonderful activities that are happening in the World Languages Department. She always has a very positive outlook to things, always involved in many different activities. And, you know, there was something that happened last year where she invited some friends from Spain to come and visit LHS. And she did this months in advance, where I emailed Mr. Chalipsky, emailed myself, how can I do this? How do I get this done? Communicating with her language department, communicating with us, making sure that it was okay. And it was such a wealth of knowledge, you know, that connection and having other students come from different countries is something that you cannot learn in a textbook, right? It's better to do it one-on-one and having that experience, and she brought that to us here, which was wonderful. Also, she does speak more than Spanish and English. She also speaks French, which is remarkable. She's also been involved in volleyball, tennis, and water polo. So she's always busy, but she always has a smile on her face and has a great attitude. I'm going to say the last part in Spanish. Estoy tan orgullosa de ti. Eres una niña maravillosa y te deseo lo mejor de éxito en el futuro. ¿Sí? That's it. I'm very proud of her. She's a great girl.
I can never go back to Spain, because when I was there and learning Spanish, every time I said something wrong, I said, oh, estoy embarazada, which, as you know, means I'm pregnant. So there's a lot of people in Spain who just, yeah. It's one of those false cognates. Darn it. All right. So a guy who is always graceful, no matter in what language, is Mr. Thompson. There he is over there. Come on down, Mr. Thompson, to talk about Laura Erdman.
I have a hard enough time with English. I'm going to stick with English today. Actually, this is Mr. West. He's a student teacher. He has been teaching Laura this first semester here. Today is his last day, so we thought we'd send him on his way with presenting an award to one of his students. This is probably Laura's favorite thing to do in her life. She loves to stand in front of people and attention on her. She likes people looking at her, right? Actually, it's just probably the most uncomfortable she'll be in her life because she hates this. One thing she is her parents actually mentioned this too, and I was going to say this, is she's really a person who just does things the right way, but doesn't care if anybody praises her for it or any of that stuff. She does her work, she does everything incredibly well, but doesn't care if anybody says anything. So today in class, I made sure the whole class knew that she got this award, which she did not like at all, but I felt it was something she needed to know that how proud I am of her. It was between her and another student last year as a freshman to nominate her, and I went with the other student, and this year I was so glad that I got the chance to nominate a sophomore, and it wasn't even close. Right when I said I was going to do this, Laura was the first one that came to mind, and I was for sure going to nominate her. I had her in architecture last year, so I'll talk more about the architecture stuff. Laura is extremely creative and extremely quick at learning new software. We teach different software in our classes, and she learned the AutoCAD software so quickly that she was helping other students in there. And again, doing it in a quiet way where she's not trying to bring attention to herself, but we see that. Everybody sees that. And that's one of the main reasons why I've nominated her, just because of the way she goes about herself. It's not about trying to bring attention to herself. It's about helping whoever she has to. And it was interesting listening to her parents talk, and I would say a lot of the same things about her. And outstanding. I knew Laura actually even before she was in high school, because my daughter's the same age, and so we knew Laura from volleyball. And last year, she injured herself, and she was back in school after surgery, never complaining. You wouldn't even actually know. I mean, if I didn't know about it, I probably wouldn't have known she was hurt, because she never said a word about it. Just kept doing her work, kept getting her work turned in, kept a smile on her face all the time, and everybody's just drawn to her because she's such a great kid. Mr. West, do you have anything?
Yeah, real quick. So, like, being a student teacher, I know how to answer about 11 to 12% of any questions I get on a given day. And, you know, there'd be sometimes I'm running around, like, desk to desk to desk, answering question. By the time I get back up to the front of the room, oh, no, Laura helped me. So, you made my job easier, so thank you. I really appreciate that one.
And then to finish off, I know she gets a pizza, but I know she needed something to drink while she's actually eating the pizza. So she's got a true Wildcat cup. There you go. You get a shirt. Okay, the Cat Father. All right, there we go. And then the final thing is, I know she's going to be driving shortly, correct? So a keychain with True Wildcat and her name on it as well. So congratulations.
You gotta sign up for Mr. Thompson's class, get some good swag. It's all right. All right, well, we are gonna, one thing you may not have known about me is that I'm quite the actor. And today I have the honor and the challenge of stepping into the role of one of our fantastic English teachers who couldn't be here today, Mary Kate Shanebeck, because her student, Liam, is here, Liam Gayden, and I'm going to talk about him, but I'm going to assume the persona of Mary Kate. So come on down, Liam. All right, so this is what Mary Kate would have to say about you. I responded to my boss's email. Wait a minute, is this the right one? Yeah. Here we go. I responded to my boss's email in less than 10 minutes when asked who in our department would like to nominate a sophomore for this month's True Wildcat Award. Come to think of it, my response time must have set some type of record. But I wanted to make sure I was the one to get this opportunity. After all, I have 2 classes full of rock star sophomores who on a daily basis work hard, think critically, ask thoughtful questions, and challenge me to get better. And yet, I still knew who I would single out with my nomination, someone who stood out to me above the crowd of awesome young people I have the privilege of interacting with every day. Everyone, I'd like you to meet Liam. Liam is the kind of kid every teacher is secretly relieved to have in class. He does everything I ask of him thoroughly and thoughtfully. He completes his homework on time, he listens attentively, most often with a genuine look of interest, and even helps me rearrange desks on his own time after class. But that is not why I'm nominating Liam. Liam has a kind heart, and he is compassionate towards the others around him. He comes to class with a smile on his face, and he asks how I'm doing, making me feel like he genuinely wants to know the answer. He treats his peers with utmost care and respect, but that isn't why I'm nominating Liam. Liam also frequently comes in to ask more questions and to gather feedback on his writing. Even this early in the year, he's already made it a habit of seeking me out to ask really smart questions about his writing, having prepared himself beforehand. He values others' perspectives, and he never acts like the smartest person in the room, even though I often think he is. He is, in fact, incredibly bright. And that is why he's able to so successfully refine his own skills, because he values learning from the other people around him. This skill has already benefited Liam, earning him one of the top essay scores in my class and being the model essay for the last assignment. But that is not why I'm nominating Liam either. See where this is going. The reason I'm nominating Liam is because of what I've observed from him during the course of a recent team project in which Liam had to work with a group of 7 other people, a rather large group. At times, I could sense the group becoming a bit tense, maybe unsure of what to do or how to organize themselves. But Liam had a positive and even-keeled approach and often helped keep the group in a forward-moving direction. He never got frazzled or outwardly frustrated, even though there was a lot to accomplish. What impressed me most was Liam's quiet leadership ability, one where he would listen more than he would speak. He would take in others' opinions, read the pulse of the group, and offer himself where he was needed most, not needing to be the most vocal of leaders. He worked for the greater good of the team, asking what more he could do, and he maintained a focused vision and gentle fortitude through it all. Liam is that rare young man who made me reflect on my own role as a parent, wondering, how do I raise my own son to be like Liam? Which is why I am deeply disappointed that I can't be there today to get all the parenting tips from Mr. and Mrs. Gaden. I'm sure you are so proud of your son. I know that I am. All right, sorry I didn't bring any Kleenex for you on that one. All right. We're going to close out our session with double trouble here. We've got both Dr. and Mrs. Brown, but they're talking about separate students. So let's start with the amazing Mrs. Brown to talk about Reeve Lounsbury.
Hi, I'm Erin Brown, and I teach dance at LHS. And I personally feel very honored to be the one to get to nominate Reeve because she's such an amazing student. Any teacher would love to have her in class, but I feel extra great to be the one to recognize her. And she does truly embody daring on a daily basis. Reeve is a very talented musician and actress. I got to know her first last year as the only freshman in the LHS musical. And I saw her talent in singing and acting, and I'm so glad to have her now in my dance class where I get to see her working hard to develop her expressive ability in dance. She tried out for the LHS Orchesis company last year and was a member of Orchesis, and now I have her in dance too, and she's also a member of our musical cast for this year. Reeve is truly a dreamer and doer because she knows what she's passionate about and she's pursuing it actively. She's a hard worker. I got to overhear her say, "Oh, this is so much fun" in tap, and that made me feel so good. And then I saw her doing the tap combination over and over and over again, and that is a definite plus for learning. She's not afraid to work hard and commit to what it takes to get the skills learned. She's also so charismatic on stage, and she's innate with being able to express emotion and character, and she's just very aware of what's important, what's going on, and she brings out the best in anybody. And I see that carrying over into my classroom as well when we're working in small groups. She's a great team member, she's supportive of her friends, and she just continues to keep the group moving along when they're practicing any dance combinations. And she's just a great listener. I always see her nodding when I'm talking to the class, like oh yes, she's actually paying attention. But I've just seen so much growth in you because of all the wonderful characteristics that you have, and I can't wait to see where it takes you. And I'm just super proud to have you in class and to get to recognize you for Student Month.
All right, and so I believe our final presenter is Dr. Brown to talk about Catherine, Fossmoen. Fossman. Gosh darn it, I almost made it. Catherine Fossman.
You might be pregnant.
I maybe, estoy embarazada.
So, you guys might not believe this, but there are children in the school that sign up for a class where they get to go every single day and sing. That's my class. And Catherine is one of 51 sophomores that I have that come every day, and they want to sing. And they do it at 8:45. It's the first class of the day. I've had Catherine in choir since freshman year, and when I had the opportunity to think about which one of these 51 people that I want to nominate, it was hard because it's a really good class. There were a lot of strong people in there, and I had to really think about the person that I wanted to nominate that exhibited, true Wildcat characteristics. When I scrolled down the list and I got to the E, D, E, F, stop for a second. Okay, mark that one. Keep going, look down. And there were only a couple of names that I had to choose from. It was an easy choice to pick you for this, Catherine. I want you to know how I appreciate your work ethic in my class. I got some jokers. I got some shenanigans going on in the sophomore choir class, and so the people that are focused and want to work really stand out when there's all this other business going on, and it's easy to spot them, and they're just sitting patiently and waiting for the shenanigans to be done so that we can continue with class. Catherine, you're extremely patient and kind. I know sometimes it's frustrating when I have to deal with the shenanigans, but it's just part of that class. Catherine is also involved in our musical, like Reeve, All Shook Up. You should see it tonight, 7:30. And I get the privilege of getting to watch her not only in choir, but to also do that kind of stuff on stage and to help the other members of the cast in rehearsals and get better and whatnot. So thank you for working hard. Thank you for being awesome, and I know that you'll continue to be that as we move forward this year. Catherine Fossman, everybody.
And I will say our musical is spectacular, and if you haven't seen it, you are guaranteed to leave just feeling great about life. It is a upbeat, fun, and really just happy performance, and our kids are outstanding. So take your Domino's pizza and go to the musical, and you've got your weekend plans set.